children, yesterday we saw that Subhash Chandra Bose, he realized that if we basically we saw that the Britishers were able to, curb or to stop the movement, that is the civil disobedience movement, with the help of the armies, and they could, they had killed almost 10,000 people in that. And then after that incident, Subhash Chandra Bose realized that if we want to, deal or tackle these Britishers, we also need to have a strong armed force, and therefore he had created his own army, which was called as the Indian National Army or Indian Fauj. Okay, and he was the supreme commander of this Indian National Army. So please scroll down, and then we saw the objectives also of this army. What were the objectives of the Indian National Army? All right, to win the freedom, to rebuild India, all right, and to promote world peace. So these were the basic objectives of this Indian National Army. So now I had completed this. Can you just scroll down? Yeah, no, the last paragraph. Yes. So a meeting in Singapore, Subhash Chandra Bose, known as Netaji, he took an oath to liberate India. And what was he saying? That give me blood, I will give you freedom, he declared. So this is important. You might get a question, okay? This particular sentence quote will be given, and they would ask you that by whom was this quote given? It was given by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Okay, so please remember that. Just scroll down, next page. All right. So objective of the Indian National Army was, another objective of the Indian National Army was to liberate India through armed struggle. Now, Netaji infused a new life and spirit into the Indian National Army. He ignited, don't underline, don't underline. He ignited the imagination of his soldiers with passionate, inspiring speeches. They were ready to lay down their lives for the liberation of their motherland. With the battle cry of Delhi Chalo, the Indian National Army advanced into Delhi along with the Japanese army. So this is important. The battle cry of Chalo Delhi or Delhi Chalo is important. Now we all know that Subhash Chandra Bose, he also had his view that if we join hands with the enemies of the Britishers, it would become easier for us to tackle with these Britishers, whether it was internally or externally. So he was in Japan, along with Raj Bihari Bose. He, formed this particular army. He became the supreme commander. He ignited a spirit of new life among these army men through his speeches, through his passionate soldiers. And then along with the Japanese army, okay, and the Indian National Army, they came, or they they started coming towards India, okay, with the cry of Chalo Delhi. All right, now they are coming, both these armies are coming to India. Now let's see what happens further. In mid 1944, okay, the Indian National Army, that is INA, crossed the Indo-Burma, that is now Myanmar border, okay, and liberated Imphal and Kohima on the defending of jubilant cries of Jai Hind and Netaji Zindabad. All right. So while coming, all right, towards India with the cry of Chalo Delhi, what did they do? The Indian National Army, they also liberated the Imphal and Kohima. All right, with the cries of while fighting, they had a cry of Jai Hind and Netaji Zindabad. Now let's see, when they reach India, what was the difference? Can you please go down? Okay, victory, however, was short-lived. Japan was defeated by Allied powers. Britain re-established control over Burma. The Indian National Army was defeated. A large number of soldiers and officers of the Indian National Army were taken as prisoners. So this is also important. So why it was short-lived? Because in the Second World War, Japan was defeated very badly by USA. You remember, USA had thrown 2 bombs at Japan, right? Which has a greatest impact till today. That is Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So in the Second World War, Japan was defeated very badly, and since Japan was defeated, and Japan was the only one who was supporting Indian National Army. So because one person, is defeated, definitely it led to the defeat of the Indian National Army also, and all the people who were there in this particular army were considered as prisoners now. So this attempt also failed. Japan had surrendered after the atom bomb attacks at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Towards the end of the Second World War, Japan was considered as the guilty nation, and Japan was had to surrender. Okay, after the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, by whom? By which country?
USA.
USA.
USA. And why do you think this is out of the box? Why do you think USA had thrown bombs at Hiroshima and Nagasaki of Japan? What did
And
Japan
because
do?
of the
Because
Pearl
of
Harbor
Harbor
incident.
attack.
Very good, because of the Pearl Harbor attack. Okay. It is believed that Subhash Chandra Bose was killed in a plane crash on his way to Tokyo. Now, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose lives in the memories of successive generations of Indians. He was a true patriot who dedicated his life to the cause he passionately believed in. India's freedom. He Okay, he fired the imagination of a nation with his intense patriotism, personal courage, unwavering conviction, and bold leadership. So now, after that, after the defeat of Indian National Army, the members of the Indian National Army were present, and it was believed that the leader of the Indian National Army, that is Subhash Chandra Bose, was killed in a plane crash. So now, although Subhash Chandra Bose had died, but he had his beliefs, his intense patriotism, his courage was still, marked a great impact on the minds of the Indians. He restored the pride and dignity of India, and he, is greatly admired and revered throughout the country, even to this day. Do you all agree? Even till today, we do have respects for whatever contribution was done, although it was a failure, but definitely it had a great impact on the minds of the Britishers, that Indians can go any which ways. And it you could see, each and every person was trying their own ways to just get rid of these Britishers. Next. Partition. Okay, Indian independence and partition of India. Do you know India was partitioned?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Earlier, what was India contributed? Or like the map of how was the Indian map earlier before the partition?
Pakistan, Myanmar.
Because
Yes. Go ahead.
Pakistan and India were like one countries, and it was like
Yes, it was. So the map of India was not the same as we have it today. So it had Pakistan also included in the map of India. So it was that big, that large a country. Okay. Now let's see how India got partitioned. Events moved swiftly. In February 1947, the British government declared that power, this is important, power would be transferred to Indians by June 1948. This person is very important. Lord Mountbatten. Please underline. Lord Mountbatten. He is important. The new viceroy arrived in India to prepare a plan for the transfer of power. Okay. He held discussions with the leaders of different parties and communities. Communal riots took a serious turn in many parts of Punjab. The partition of India and the creation of Pakistan became inevitable. Okay, so now Lord Mountbatten played a very important role. He was a new viceroy, and what was the task given to him? To prepare a plan so that we can transfer the power to the Indians. All right. There were lots of discussions with the leaders of the different parties and communities. Communal riots also took, what had taken place in most of the parts of Punjab. And then finally, India was divided because Pakistan had created their own countries. Okay, so between divided into two, one was Pakistan and the other was India, which is still there today, right? Now, Mountbatten announced his plan for the division of British India into India. Okay, so earlier it was called as British India. All right, it was named as British India, but now it has been named only, it will be named only as India. And Pakistan to transfer the power, and the transfer of power to the two domains. So his duty was to transfer the power in both these domains, India and Pakistan. The northeast frontier province, Sindh, Balochistan, West Punjab, and East Bengal was separated from the rest of the India to form a new country called Pakistan. So this is how a new country was formed, by the division, by the separation of the northwest provinces, which included Sindh, Balochistan, West Punjab, and East Bengal. Okay. On the basis of the Mountbatten Plan, the British Parliament passed the Indian Independence Act. This is very important. How was the Indian Independence Act passed? It was passed on the basis of Lord Mountbatten. He was a new viceroy, and he had done the this thing, given the powers, transfer the powers. Okay. A British rule in India finally came to an end on 15th August 1947.
Ma'am, excuse me.
Yes.
Ma'am, the
1 minute,
time
1
is
minute,
up.
1 minute here. Yeah,
Okay, ma'am.
just scroll down, please. Okay. With the unfurling of the Indian tricolor on the historic Red Fort, a new phase began in the history of India. That is the birth of New Dawn. All right. So we all know 15th of August 1947 is the date where India got independence, and Indian tricolor. Please underline this. Indian tricolor was unfurled on at where? At Red Fort. Okay. And this marked the beginning of New India. All right. That is the birth of it was that morning was considered, you can imagine, the smiles on the faces of most of the freedom struggle when they got rid of the Britishers, and they could, unfurl the tricolor. So that happiness you can never ever imagine, because the ones who were there involved in this freedom struggle, for them it was just like a birth of a new dawn. All right. So next, we'll stop you for today, children, and we'll continue in the next class. Just scroll down. Okay, fine, no problem.